Hey everybody, happy Saturday. I hope everybody's having a good Saturday night. It was really, really nice outside today. Welcome to Shireen's World. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I wanted to come up here tonight and do a little quick live reaction to a video to Dr. Ramani. She's a licensed therapist. She's going to talk about narcissists. So basically, you can follow her on YouTube. So it's basically when a narcissist sees you as too strong, they'll try this one last dirty trick with Dr. Ramani on YouTube. So I'm gonna play this video with her and I'm gonna stop the video in between and give my feedback on it. If you're in this situation, please subscribe to my channel. I'll share a whole bunch of information on my community wall that you guys can go look at, and I greatly appreciate it. So we're gonna get into this real quick.
A narcissist's final move only shows up when they realize they've lost control over your mind. When they see that their usual tactics no longer bend you to their will, something shifts inside them. Size. They don't feel proud of your growth or respect your independence. They feel threatened. When you become too aware, too strong, and too self sufficient, they often attempt one last manipulative act. This phase reveals a side of narcissistic behavior that many people never notice until they experience it themselves. When they understand that their old strategies no longer work, they rarely walk away quietly. Instead, they plan a final move meant to shake you at your core. Pause. If you're unprepared, it can undo months or even years of healing. Subtly.
So this is why I'm saying when you're leaving a narcissist, you have to definitely prepare yourself when you're leaving a narcissist. You definitely need a lot of counseling, a lot of healing. So if you're watching my YouTube channel and you're going through the situation, I share a lot of information on my community wall. Go out there, look at my community wall. You'll get a lot of information about what to do, how to do, what to do next.
Subtly luring you back into patterns you thought you'd left behind. Before this final tactic appears, there's usually a silent internal struggle. The deepest fear of a narcissist isn't rejection or abandonment, it's seeing the person they once controlled grow stronger mentally and emotionally. This threatens the false image they've carefully built to protect themselves. Narcissists rely on an illusion of superiority, needing to believe they are more powerful, more important, and more dominant than those around them. They can't confront their own weaknesses, so they project them onto others instead. They accuse, blame, and criticize so they never have to look inward. When you start to heal, things quietly shift. Healing might not look dramatic, but it's powerful. You trust your own judgment, set boundaries without guilt, and say no without fear. To you, it's growth. To them, it's a loss of control. The moment you reclaim your power, the balance shifts. The control that once favored them now favors you, and they sense it immediately, even if they can't articulate it. Narcissists aren't searching for connection or love, they're searching for control. They want people whose emotions they can manipulate, whose attention they can capture, and whose self worth they can shape. Their inflated ego is fragile and requires constant validation from others. When you doubted yourself and sought their approval, you fed this need perfectly. Your confusion gave them power. Your desire for reassurance made them feel important. Your explanations made them feel superior. You weren't truly loved, you were a source of validation. But as soon as you start standing in your truth, everything changes. When you stop chasing their approval and start listening to your own inner voice.
So that basically means when you start speaking up for yourself, they don't like it. When you go no contact, they don't like it. So listen, if you're in a situation, please get yourself out the situation. There's domestic violence hotlines that you can call. You know, there's help out there. So if you're in a situation, get yourself out of the situation.
You no longer fit the role they assign to you. This triggers panic. Their sense of identity begins to crack. You're no longer predictable, easily influenced, or afraid of their silence or anger. This is when they reach for their most dangerous tactic, one that experts warn about because of its destructive potential. When they feel control slipping, they abandon obvious strategies like gaslighting or open blame and launch a deeper attack on your sense of self. They begin projecting everything they cannot accept about themselves onto you, accusing you of being manipulative, selfish, cold, or unstable. These accusations rarely reflect who you really are. They reveal their inner chaos, now cast onto you. This phase is subtle and especially dangerous because it's often cloaked in concern or vulnerability. They might say they're worried about you, that you've changed, or that your growth is actually harmful. They may suggest therapy, boundaries, or self respect are making you worse. The goal.
This if this is something that you're going through and you're hearing everything that she's saying and you're going through the situation, I spoke about this in all my other videos. This is a licensed therapist, Dr. Ramani. She is speaking about it, about narcissists. And it's sad. They just have no soul.
Goal is simple yet cruel. They want you to doubt your own progress, to question your growth, and to revert to the version of yourself they could control. This attack targets individuation, the process of becoming your authentic self, separate from external control and false identities. When you embrace your true self, the narcissist feels exposed and abandoned, even if you remain physically present. Instead of facing their emptiness, they try to pull you back into confusion, rewriting history or acting apologetic to see if they can regain control. Awareness is critical because healing may feel threatening to those who thrived on your self doubt. Your growth doesn't make you heartless, it makes you free. Clarity is your greatest weapon against a narcissist. Setting boundaries isn't cruelty, it's self respect. When you recognize their projection for what it is, their accusations lose power. The moment you understand that everything they claim about you reflects their own inner struggles rather than your truth, the hold they've had over you begins to dissolve. Narcissists thrive on confusion, and your clarity is their weakness. When you stop defending yourself against false claims, refusing to argue over distortions, and stay grounded in your own reality, their tactics start to collapse. What might seem like emotional intensity or aggression from them isn't strength, it's desperation. They're trying to preserve an identity built on control and avoid facing the emptiness inside themselves. Your calm, confidence, and refusal to engage aren't harsh. They're proof that you've outgrown the role they expected you to play. Recognizing this final manipulation protects your progress. You stop trying to make them understand your growth because they benefit from misunderstanding you. You stop explaining your healing to someone who fears it. Choosing peace over chaos becomes your priority. True strength isn't about dominating others, it comes from integrating yourself and standing in your truth. By walking forward without responding to their manipulation, you complete a cycle they cannot follow. They may leave or return with new tactics, but once you see the pattern clearly, their power over you fades. You are no longer reacting out of fear, you are responding with awareness. That is the moment their control truly ends and your autonomy becomes undeniable. What makes this phase so dangerous is how it shifts focus. In the past, narcissists targeted your vulnerabilities, mocking doubts, fears, or your need for approval. Once you've grown stronger, their attention turns to your strengths. Everything you've repaired or built becomes their target. Your independence, confidence, and self respect are precisely what they cannot tolerate because these qualities prevent them from regaining power over you. They begin planting seeds of doubt, suggesting that your growth has made you selfish, distant, or arrogant. Every comment is calculated to make you question yourself. The precision of their words is alarming. They don't attack random traits, they target areas where you've changed the most. If you've learned to say no, they call you uncaring. If you speak up, they label you aggressive. If you protect your time, they accuse you of being distant or heartless. When guilt and shame.
So, are you going through anything like this? If anybody out there that's watching my channel, are you experiencing anything like this? Are you in a situation like this? If you are, please get yourself some help. It is not going to end too well or too good. And when you do get yourself some help, please seek some counseling after that, no matter how long it takes you. Like I said, I'm a survivor. I'm out of this situation, but I'm out here just spreading the awareness so I can help someone else out. Because dealing with a narcissist, it is not easy. Like, it's definitely not easy. And those are like demons.
Shame fail to bend you back. They shift strategies. Suddenly, they talk about the past in a way that seems emotional and sincere. They bring up memories, shared moments, and how things used to be.
That's just their way just to get what they want back from you. Like, that's just their way. It's just a revolving door. Who wants to go through that? That's not a healthy relationship. It's not. Because all they're going to do is just say the same things again. And you're going to be back in that situation again.
Better. They might say they miss the old version of you, claim you laughed more before, or insist that you were happier when you focused less on yourself. But this isn't true longing. It's a pull toward the old patterns they could control. They aren't missing who you really are. They're missing the version of you that didn't challenge them, that fit into the role they designed. This manipulation is subtle yet potent because it preys on your empathy and your desire for connection. Recognizing it as a tactic rather than reality keeps your growth intact and shields you from falling back into old patterns. They're not missing who you truly are. They're longing for the version of you who gave endlessly, explained yourself without pause, and ignored your own needs. Their goal is to make
So that's crazy. That's sad. Listen, you narcissist people, y'all need to go get some help. I don't even know. I wouldn't want to deal with a narcissist again. They're like demons. Like, if you're in a situation, you will understand. They're like little demons.
make you look backward instead of forward, comparing your present self to the easier to control person you used to be. If you're not careful, this can work. You might start doubting yourself, feeling nostalgic for a time when life seemed simpler, or confusing peace with silence and self denial. You might even begin to miss the version of yourself that lacked awareness and boundaries. That is the trap. The past can be weaponized, painted as better than it truly was, designed to lure you back into old patterns. And when criticism and nostalgia fail, the narcissist doesn't stop. They pivot, changing tactics to stay in control and keep you questioning yourself. When previous tactics don't work, they become fragile. Suddenly, they appear overwhelmed, broken, or in crisis, always at the precise moment you are standing strong. This is no coincidence. They know your heart, your compassion, and what triggers your desire to help. They understand your empathy better than you might think, and they use it. Suddenly, there's a personal crisis, money issues, family drama, emotional pain, or fear.
So basically, what she's trying to say, let's say you're out of the situation or you're trying to get out of it, whatever, and they start hitting you up with all these kind of different things. So you can feel bad for them. Don't fall for that at all. Don't fall for none of that bullcrap. It's called go no contact. Go no contact at all.
Here. The details may shift, but the pattern remains the same. The moment you are at your strongest is the moment they claim they need you the most. It's manipulative genius. They rely on your care, counting on your sense of responsibility to pull you back into a caretaker role, reminding you and themselves that they can still influence you. But their goal isn't just help, it's proof. They want to see if you will break the boundaries you worked so hard to set. They ask for favors you've clearly said no to, push for closeness when you asked for space, or frame requests as one time exceptions. Words like just this once are carefully chosen. They are designed to weaken your resolve, to reopen the door they want back into your life. This isn't about the situation, it's about control. Agreeing even once blurs the boundaries. reintroduces guilt and chips away at the strength you've built. You don't just lose energy, you lose trust in yourself, teaching your own mind that your needs come last. Months or years of growth can unravel in a single moment under emotional pressure. This stage is especially dangerous because it doesn't feel manipulative, it feels compassionate. It looks like kindness. It appeals to your empathy and desire to help, but it's a test. And the truth is simple, even if hard to accept. Anyone who truly respects your growth will never ask you to abandon it. Anyone who genuinely cares about you will never punish you for becoming stronger. Real connection doesn't demand self betrayal. Protecting yourself, holding boundaries, and maintaining your autonomy is not cruelty. It's proof that you've outgrown the role they wanted you to play and that your healing comes first. Healing doesn't make you cruel, it makes you clear. Your strength isn't the problem, their discomfort with losing control is. Once you understand that, their tactics start to lose power. One of the most dangerous emotional pulls is the one that feels genuine. Narcissists often manufacture vulnerability so carefully that it looks real. They may be stressed or overwhelmed, but what makes it manipulative is how that pain is directed toward you. They choose when to appear broken and, more importantly, who they show it to. They could reach out to friends, family, or professionals, yet they come to you, instinctively knowing you're most likely to pause your needs, bend your boundaries, and step into.
Some of them don't even reach out to counseling or therapy at all. They're just walking amongst us with all these little demon souls that they just don't get no help at all. Like I said, shout out to the ones that do go to counseling and therapy, but the ones that just don't get no help and there's so much in denial, I can't respect it. They're out here hurting people. There's victims out here, they're going through things, mental, losing stuff, people going unalive, dealing with a narcissist or dealing with domestic violence.
To rescue them. You may feel compelled to help, believing this time is different, that walking away would make you a bad person. Slowly, without noticing, compassion pulls you back into old patterns. The narcissist crisis becomes the gateway back into your life. Their goal isn't true connection, it's proof that you still prioritize them over your own boundaries. They ask for favors you've clearly refused, push for closeness when you asked for space, and frame requests as small, temporary exceptions. Words like just this once are deliberate. They're designed to weaken your resolve and open the door again. Agreeing even once blurs boundaries, reignites guilt, and chips away at your strength. You don't just lose time or energy, you lose trust in yourself. Months or years of growth can unravel in a single moment of emotional pressure. This stage is dangerous because it doesn't feel manipulative. It feels compassionate. It appeals to your empathy and your desire to help. But it's a test, not a request. Real compassion is different. It doesn't demand endless self sacrifice. It doesn't mean fixing what someone else refuses to face. True compassion lets you care without taking responsibility for their struggle. You can feel concern without obligation, acknowledge pain without becoming trapped in it. If helping someone keeps you stuck in a role you've outgrown, it isn't growth, it's self abandonment. Growth requires discomfort, saying no even when it hurts, choosing long term peace over short term relief. Narcissists sense your change and often respond with urgency, a sudden emergency, breakdown, or crisis designed to pull you back into old patterns. Not because they trust you, but because they fear losing control. Quiet inner strength, self respect, calm, and refusal to engage is what terrifies them most. When you stop shrinking yourself to keep them comfortable, you are doing more than setting a boundary. You are showing what is possible when honesty replaces approval seeking. Every time you resist emotional pressure, hold your boundary, or stay calm while they escalate, you see clearly. Their power over you was never real. It existed only when you doubted yourself. True strength isn't never being affected. It's recognizing manipulation for what it is and choosing yourself anyway. The narcissist's final tactic only works if you forget who you are and how far you've come. Once you see the pattern clearly, their grip disappears. No confrontation is required, no dramatic showdown necessary. Just a quiet decision to honor your truth, protect your peace, and live differently. That is freedom. When someone desperately tries to pull you back, it's because they sense they are losing access, not to your time, but to your energy, your care, and your emotional labor. And that loss terrifies them. For you, this is the doorway to peace. The moment you stop being easy to control is the moment you begin truly living, fully, freely, and honestly. Thank you for staying with me through this reflection. If
Alrighty. So if you're done with the situation with a narcissist, please get yourself some help. Please get yourself out that situation. It is not healthy. There's advocates out there, there's mentors, there's peer mentors like me. There's if you're in a bad situation, like dangerous, there's 911. There's it's like so many things out there, so many, so much help. Just watching Dr. Ramani and watching her videos, it helps you understand these narcissists, what narcissistic personality disorder is, and just like all the different traits that's under it. It's crazy. And it's just crazy that there's people that's walking around that's not getting themselves any type of help. So I just wanted to come up here and spread some awareness as me being a survivor. Like I said, I'm out of that situation and I'm happy. I got myself the counseling, the help that I needed. I've been through a domestic violence situation in 2019. Like I said, my story broke the news. It came all over the news, the internet and everything. I got myself some help out of that situation. But listen, you gotta put your foot down. You gotta break the cycle. I never thought that I'd run into a narcissist, but here we are, you know. But I'm happy. Like I said, I'm not in that situation no more. I'm out here bringing awareness to help someone else out to understand what these people are. And not only that, I bring awareness to domestic violence as well. So please, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Also, you can go like and subscribe to Dr. Ramani channel. Watch all her other videos that's up there. You can learn some other things that's up there. Also, go to my community wall. I share a lot of other information about family court, domestic violence, narcissistic abuse, what to do if all of your local D shelters are full. I have a whole bunch of information up there. So thank you guys. I hope you guys are having a great Saturday night. I know I am. I'm having a great Saturday night. I wish you guys stay safe. I do have some safety tips on my community wall. Just a whole bunch of information how to keep yourself safe at night. Making sure your doors are locked. You have your safety numbers next to you. And you have somewhere to go to just in case there's an emergency. Call a 911. There's always shelters. You can always relocate to a whole nother town somewhere else. There's so much help out there. All you have to do is speak up, reach out, and get the help. It doesn't matter how much these people are threatening you, there's always so much help out there. So thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. Have a great Saturday night. If I don't come back live tonight, I'll definitely be live tomorrow with some juicy more videos for you guys. Appreciate it. Enjoy your night.